All right, my friends, today we're going to be talking about how to read and draw data graphs. So first we're going to talk about the basics of a graph, okay? Always there is a vertical axis, okay? So I'm going to write that on here, vertical axis, and there is always a horizontal axis. So on every graph you're ever going to have, there will be a vertical axis and a horizontal axis, okay? If you were having to look at a data graph and you're having to read it, okay? So the information that you're trying to read is going to be in here. So this is where your data actually goes, on the inside of this graph, okay? Now, depending on what your graph is supposed to be for, that's what's going to be labeled on the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. So it's always really important to make sure that you're labeling the axes so that way you can know what you're reading, okay? So in our example, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about some animals, okay? And we're going to be talking about how much food is left in their bowl, all right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about a cat, a dog, and a mouse. Okay? So on our horizontal axis, we have the examples of the animals that we're going to be talking about. On the vertical axis, so we're going to label this animals. And you can just put your label off to the side. That's okay. So our label on the vertical axis will be food left in bowl. Okay? So now we're going to see how much food they have left in their bowl. So they could have one piece, they could have two pieces, they could have three pieces, they could have four pieces, or they could have five pieces. But now we're going to be looking at our information, and we're going to basically draw the graph, and then I'll show you how to read it. Okay? So the cat, Mr. Cat, had 3 pieces of food left in his bowl. So I'm just going to draw circles. And the reason why I drew 3 circles is because he had 3 pieces of food left in his in his food bowl, rather. So whenever you label something on a graph, you want to follow up and follow to the right to where your fingers meet, and that's where you graph it. So in this instance, we graphed that he had 1 piece of food, 2 pieces of food, 3 pieces of food. The dog had 2 pieces of food. So I labeled 1 piece of food, 2 pieces of food. The mouse wasn't very hungry. She had 4 pieces of food in her bowl. And the reason why we know it's 4, other than drawing 4 circles, right, is because I'm going vertically from mouse. I'm going in a straight line. And then on the vertical axis, I'm finding where these numbers meet up in the middle. Okay, so that's how you read a graph, a data graph. So the cat had 3 pieces in his bowl. The dog had 2 pieces in her bowl. And the mouse had 4 pieces in her bowl. Okay? Now, if I told you, we're still going to talk about animals, so our horizontal axis is not going to change. Okay? So that was just one example that we added into our interactive notebook today. Now, let's say we want to find out how fast the animals run. Okay? So we're going to label the vertical axis, running time. So we're figuring out how long did the animals run for? How long did the animals run? Okay? So what we're going to do, since this is time, we're going to go in 10-minute intervals. So that means we're going to basically rote count by tens. So this is 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. MIN is shorthand for minutes. 40 minutes. 50 minutes. Okay? So, let's say, for our example, all right, our cat ran for 20 minutes. Okay? I just put a little cat head there because we're talking about the cat. We're talking about the cat ran for 20 minutes. So we put a mark right there where those 2 points intersect, where they come together. Okay? The dog ran for 30 minutes. So there's my little puppy head. So the dog ran for 30 minutes. We know it's 30 minutes because we're going straight up from dog, and then we're going to go to the right side where 30 is. And you see how my fingers are touching now? That's why I put the dog head where it is. Okay? Now, you guys are going to have to make an inference. The mouse ran double the amount of time as the cat. So, the mouse ran double the amount of time as the cat. Okay? So, first of all, how many minutes did the cat run? Okay? That's what we need to know because the mouse ran double that. So double means 2 times. Okay? So if the cat ran, so we're going to read the graph and figure out how long the cat ran. So we're going to go up. No, there's nothing at the 10-minute mark. Okay? Oh, let's go up here. Oh, there is something at the 20-minute mark. So the cat ran for 20 minutes. But how do I double that? So because double means 2 times, you could do it one of 2 ways. So you could do 20 times 2, or you could do 20 plus 20. The reason why we can do 20 plus 20 is because addition, repeated addition, is the same thing. You'll get the same answer as multiplying something by 2. So if you add something together by itself 2 times, that is the exact same thing as taking the number and multiplying it by 2. So, what we know, 20 plus 20 is 40, okay? 2 times 2 is 4, and then we add our 0. So, the mouse ran for 40 minutes. So now we're going to add the little mouse on our graph, right? So we need to find 40 minutes, which is right here on our vertical axis. We're going to follow this over to the right, and then now we're going to go up from the mouse, and we're going to see where our fingers meet. Okay, so right there. So that's where we're going to be drawing our little mouse. Okay, so you can take information and you can put it into a graph, or you can take a graph that's already done and read it to figure out the answers to certain questions. And the only other thing that you really need to know, what's the purpose of a graph? The purpose of a graph is just to see something visually with your eyes. So you are seeing data with your eyes, okay?